let's see if this works. I'm not the biggest expert on doing streams, but I think we should be good here. Let's see. Okay, so music is running, microphone is running. Let's see if this works. Okay, I guess we are good to go. Let me do something else first. Okay, guys. Yeah, welcome to the SolarBalls stream, where we're gonna be just doing some Q&As and answering some of the questions that you might have for the show. All of this, first of all, happened thanks to the fact that we reached our goals for the achievements list for the Kickstarter, so I'm super proud of that. And thank you all so much for helping us get to this point. So without further ado, guys, just leave some of your comments or questions on the top chat to the left, and I'll just try to reply to each of them, unless they're very spoilery or things that we'd rather keep to ourselves, like some of the secrets of the show, But I'll try to reveal some things. Okay, let's see some of the comments. Okay, here's one. What's my favorite soundtrack of the show from Not Silly 764? So I can answer mainly for basically we had a soundtrack that we did with a music composer named Anton, and he made a lot of the songs for the show. But then I myself composed some of the soundtrack that we've been using in some of the more pillar moments, like Theia, like Planet X, Rogue Planets, and the latest one, which was the Planet Revolution one. I think my favorite might be somewhere between Theia and Planet X's theme. I think they're probably because those are arcs, especially Theia. Theia is like a happier theme song, and it actually just makes me happy. So yeah, I'll say Theia's theme is my favorite. Okay, let's see what else. What's my favorite character of the show, which was asked by PELS806. Favorite character, that's a tough one to answer, honestly. At times it's Neptune. I just like a bit of his chaotic energy, his just like randomness, and he's still so much fun to write. Planet X it's another one of my favorite ones. Like, he really just brings a lot of chaotic energy to the established norms of the solar system. Yeah, I also really like a character like the Moon. And the Moon, for me, when I started writing the character, I really wanted the Moon to be like somebody we can all strive to be. Just correct, loyal, but also righteous. Being loyal doesn't mean being blind to your friends or family's flaws, but actually helping them go through them. Now, I got some comments once that the Moon was a bit too, I think during Earth's origins arc, that the Moon didn't pay too close attention to the Earth, but I'm I think that's what also makes the Moon a bit more believable. It's not perfect. The Moon also had his own thing. The Moon can't just be a reactionary character that just does what the Earth it doesn't just follow the Earth's path, but also the Moon also has his own wants and needs. So yeah, probably the Moon is the one that I would love to be more like in terms of the characters of the show. But yeah, okay. Let's see another comment. Venus09 asks, what was the most difficult animation that you've ever made? I haven't released it yet, actually. It's wait, this project right here, Run Monster Run. I can't wait for all of you to see that it's probably the most next level thing I've ever done in my life. We've been working on that for so long. I haven't I have animated parts of it, but I have mostly done directing for Run Monster Run. and writing, you know, but it's a project of another sort of level, so I'm so excited just to show it to everybody. um, yeah, like I'm super proud of it, but it's crazy because I can't really show it yet, you know. Anyways, okay, let's see, when will SolarBalls end? So like tomorrow. Just kidding. It's not gonna end anytime soon, guys. Because we have a bigger vision for what we're gonna do with the show. And now, like, what's gonna be happening is some things of the show might change a bit. But like, so for example, after the movie, there's gonna be some things about the status quo of some characters that are gonna change, you know. Which was actually something that I thought from day one. I wanted to reach the movie to change some things, but then we kept delaying the movie, and actually we had so much storytelling to tell in between the start of the show and the movie to actually make the movie richer, because the movie, certain characters have to get to a certain point in the arcs for the movie to work. One of them, I'm just gonna spoil a little bit, you know. In the movie, we're gonna have the Moon also playing solar cards, and Astrodude also playing solar cards. And that was like when I was doing the Moon Revolution, where the moons are not even involved with that. I was like, yeah, that's something I want to build up towards, you know, the point where all of them get along and can play things together, you know. Anyways, I think I went through some other points. Okay. Louis the Rat Doors asks, will there be a different way to get solar cards too besides the Kickstarters? Yeah, guys. Like the Kickstarter is just to get solar cards second edition early, but of course we're gonna add different ways for you to get it. You know, it's gonna eventually go to the SolarBalls store, so don't worry too much about that. And yeah, I think in like later today I'm gonna have a call where I'm gonna polish some of the card designs and do a few final tweaks, so we can get all of that ready for the Kickstarter supporters. Yeah. Okay, let's see another one. Okay. Were you planning the Planet Revolution arc? Were you doing the Titan meets Earth episode? Crazy how the episode led till here. Yeah, so like here's the thing about like storytelling, at least the way I handle it. You can't figure out every single detail, because that would be a bit boring, and might as well, if you're gonna figure out every single detail, you're gonna be too constrained as a storyteller. So like for me, usually I figure out like certain beats and figure out where I want to go. Every single arc that we've done had a point, like a point that we were leading towards, you know. And that's one of the first things that I try to figure out, like what's gonna be the point. Which is crazy, because sometimes, you know, like I've seen that result in a really good reaction. For the Moon Revolution, it was funny because I think people wanted more like repercussions or violence in the ending of that arc. You know, they wanted like a lot of characters to die or whatever. For me, that wasn't the point. You know, for me, the point of the Moon Revolution is like what happens if a righteous revolution gets off the rails, which often happens. You know. And how to de-escalate that, you know, like, because the point of revolution is not just for another side to become as bad as the other, but actually supposedly, you know, revolutions historically started with good intentions, like maybe a king was abusing their power or whatever, and they want to challenge that, but then they lose themselves. So I just love the idea of doing a revolution story where the characters lose a bit of themselves, but can like manage to pull themselves out of the craziness of the moment and start to resolve things. And actually, despite everything that happened in SolarBalls, it's thanks to the fact that they de-escalated things in the revolution that a lot of the planets are getting along with themselves and all. So for me, that was like, I think a lot more interesting than the Earth dies or whatever, you know. Like, anyways, will SolarBalls end with a happy or sad ending? I don't often like. I don't know. The thing is, I'm not too guided by happy or sad endings. Although, to be totally honest, I much prefer something that has a bit of a happy resolution, you know. But I also like to be true to the themes that I'm exploring. So, as an example, Planet X, you could say, hey, does Planet X have a sad ending or a good ending? And the answer is, like, it's a bit of both, you know. Planet X was about to lose himself and hurt a lot of people that matter to him one way or another, you know. And he also manages to, like, because he loses the friendship he had with Proteus, he steps back and actually starts to stop thinking about just revenge and start thinking also of like, hey, maybe there's more understanding that I can take and then actually get a good purpose out of the suffering that I went through. So Planet X goes on this journey, you know, to become better, and the solar system goes back to normal. Is that happy or is that sad? I don't know, but it fulfills the themes that I wanted to explore with that story, and I think everybody ends up better because of that. So far, I think every arc had a bit of a happier ending, you know, but honestly, those endings come sometimes at a cost or a change of the norms of their lives, you know. And it's funny that a lot of people are like, oh, because many years ago somebody asked about Saturn's rings. All of this chaos is happening, but I don't think a lot of the chaos that happened had a, like, you know, we would have rather not have it happen. Like, would we have preferred the moons to never really get to explain how they feel, you know, about the planets? Would we have rather have Planet X never come back? Would we have rather, like, everybody keep secrets about, like, what happened in the Grand Tack or the Earth's origins or so many of those things? Of course not. Those were things that were bound to eventually come out, and everybody got to explore them, you know. So it's I think it's just like the nature of things, you know. And while I'm doing a lot of these arcs, I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna connect this to the next one, you know. So yeah, that's kind of like the fun of it. Okay, let's see. Is there anything planned either in terms of character development or Saturn's story? Yes, I can confirm. 60% confirm that might be the next arc we explore after the Planet Revolution and Rogue Planet's arc kind of like fulfills itself. I say 60% because some plans might change depending on when the movie comes out and those things. But I really want to start exploring that side of it. I also want a bit of like a more relaxing arc after the current one, you know, something that just explores more characters and such, you know. I know like having a Planet Revolution is exciting and all, and it's like big stakes, but I also really enjoy just character driven arcs, you know. They may be a bit smaller, you know, but yeah, I think everybody's also missing a bit of like just like let's just explore this one concept about this one character, you know. So yeah. Okay, Alvaro, is there going to be a Star Revolution and a Rogue Planet Revolution? That's up for the future, guys. I'm not here to confirm those kind of things, you know, because it's more fun if they naturally happen. I think nobody was really expecting like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago that Rogue Planets would come into the story in this way. But it's just so much fun that they did. And I think they enriched the show so much. Like, probably also because I know what the future of the show is gonna be. I'm already thinking, oh, it's gonna be so cool, even beyond the Rogue Planets arc, what the role is gonna be in the overall, you know, when you think about Solarballs, like what the Rogue Planets have added to this world building, you know. And I'm so happy and proud of myself for coming up with doing like almost like this sort of like Oliver Twist street kids that are a bit like rebellious and rogue, and you can understand where they come from, but also, you know, there's some edges to what they're doing. And good with the Rogue Planets because it works so perfectly. Like it's like the Rogue Planets are just misunderstood, but also kind of like radical characters, you know, with their own codes and all that. I don't know. I'm just happy about that. But yeah, like we'll see more Rogue Planets in the future. Are we gonna see Proxima Centauri in the future? Yes, we're gonna see Proxima Centauri in the future. When exactly? I can't say. But I didn't introduce those characters to just abandon them. Here's the thing, okay? And just quote me on this in the future. Sometimes, and I'm not probably answering a question that somebody else would probably ask, but I think it is the right moment to answer, you know? Like, a lot of people will be thinking, hey, when is this character gonna come? It's been like a year or so, but I'm thinking of this show almost as doing like movies. like 2 to 3 hour long movies. And the way we segment episodes usually is like, it's a movie that's progressing, now just doing movies like that takes time, takes planning, but for me it's always to get to the point where you have the entire arc of a SolarBalls storyline finished, and you can just enjoy it. You can just watch it from beginning to end, and get the whole context of what we were building up towards. Which is why sometimes a lot of you are like, hey, why are there so many cliffhangers all the time? There's always a cliffhanger. It's like, it's not really like, I don't plan, hey, let's just do cliffhangers. I'm like, hey, let's do interesting storytelling, but it's a bigger vision of a storytelling, so I can't just help not leave it a bit unwrapped, so yeah, sorry for the cliffhangers, guys, but that's kind of like the reason we're building 2 to 3 hour long stories. Okay, we will return to fun episodes after the movie. Yeah, we're gonna have a ton of more fun episodes coming along, and every now and then, like, I know sometimes the storyline gets a bit more dramatic and hyped and all, but every now and then I try to tone it down. For example, when I was doing the realistic solar system episodes, I was like, I think this can be a good moment to explore some more comedy again, just do episodes that are more silly, like Astro do traveling around the solar system. So I'll try to spice it up and have more of those, don't worry, guys. Alvaro, what's a part of the show that hit my emotions? So I can think of several. Number one, the moment I wrote the moons should know their place line from the earth, I knew I was risking a lot, because you're making the character of the earth be kind of like unlikable, and even more unlikable than he was before. And I really wanted to get to the point where he changes and redeems himself, but for me that was a bit of a like, is this gonna, like, how are people gonna react to this moment? What else? I think when I was writing the collision of Proto-Earth and Theia, that was surreal to write. I think I was in an airport about to travel, and I was like just writing that final episode, and I just sat there and just felt like I just got rid of good friends. I had been writing those characters for like months and months, and also I have been planning for those characters to come into the show, so it felt almost like a betrayal, but I knew I introduced those characters because they were the characters that originate the Earth and the Moon, so I had to make them crash. And I was building up to that. I knew what big story I was building, but every single step I took more towards them crashing. It was so surreal. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. I've heard of writers talk about that, the moment where they're gonna kill characters, and I've written shows where I kill characters, and it always feels off. But something about Proto and Theia felt like it was happy but sad, and it was like beautiful but also horrifying, I don't know, it made me feel the feels, I guess. And one more moment that actually really stuck by me was the latest episode of SolarBalls, by the moment I'm releasing this, which is the Planet Revolution Part 4. Like, that was insane to write. Like, that was so insane to write. I felt like I was like grabbing the show and punching it, because it's the sun, and it's the character, and it's been years of build-up of the sun just being a bit crazy, and really not being fair to the planet. So I just felt really weird about putting the sun through all of this, and having the planets finally overpower him and humble him in a way. Now, what will come out of this, we'll have to see. But it was surreal. It was scary to write. It feels like I'm breaking the foundations of the show in a way, and that's why I wrote lines like when Titan tells the planets, like, guys, we might be burning a bridge here, like, if we go through this revolution, and more or less that's what happens, and what does Jupiter say? I think Jupiter says like the bridge has been burning for a while. That was in the first draft. Like, I think I later came back and said, oh, that'd be a sick line to have. Anyways, let's see. Can you hint the next arc? Yeah, I think I already hinted. I was saying that we may explore Saturn's rings, and I'm not gonna say which character we might introduce in that arc, but I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Which arc was the most difficult from a production's point of view? By far the Moon Revolution, for obvious reasons. It was the first time we were doing this. So think about it like this, guys. When we started with Mr. Spherical, we couldn't initially just like finance 7 episodes every single week. It's very difficult to do that, so I was mostly animating a lot of those, and we usually justify those by sponsorships. We got sponsorships, we could do long episodes, otherwise we're gonna be just losing money, and we have to, of course, like pay animators and a lot of people that are involved in these projects. But eventually, as SolarBalls came into the scene, and we started to get a bit more comfortable, and we started to have some success, we're like, hey, what if we start moving more towards longer episodes? Now, the Moon Revolution doesn't start with long episodes all the time, but it starts with a few shorter episodes that are more interconnected than we usually would have done in previous episodes. And I think it's around... Let me remember, I think it was around the time we did maybe the Moons of Jupiter, or maybe it was Mission to Titan, that we did like a 2-part long episode structure, which was a bit different from what things we've done. And then we did it with Moons of Jupiter, which I think it was also 2 parts. And then we started doing like long episodes, and then we eventually say, hey, what if we treat this as a movie that's divided into like 20-minute episodes, sort of like TV, and it was all just risk, I was just like pushing this forward, and I was like, I don't think people do this too much on internet, like I don't see a lot of 3-part 7-minute episodes being done on YouTube. Usually that would be like bad strategy, because 2 and 3-parters don't really do as good as the first part of an episode, or as a standalone video. But I was just like testing the waters, and here I have to give credit to like Oliver, my business partner in SolarBalls. Like, we were both just like I was doing a lot of the creative stuff, and he was like giving me so much support and structure to execute a lot of these things. And when I came up with some of these crazy ideas, like, he was mostly on board, and we just did them and tested them. And then here's the thing: it's thanks to doing that Patreon worked, because it made the show more serialized, more engaging for people to actually subscribe and watch fully. And Patreon became, like, right now, actually this day, it's the biggest animation Patreon in the world. Like, that's insane. And I don't know how, and we got there because it's a serialized show where we tried these kind of things. So yeah. Anyways, how long will the Astronaut movie be? Okay, so finally we're talking about Astronaut movie. At the moment, it's between like 45 to an hour. Okay, 45 minutes to an hour. It might be a bit shorter, a bit longer than that, like, we're polishing some things and tweaking the edit. So it's a bit unpredictable to know how some things are gonna last, The script itself is closer to like 50 minutes, let's say. But then when we move to actually animating this thing, maybe this scene is gonna do better if we're slower or faster, or so things change. How long does it take to make episodes? Okay, this is a cool thing that I think we don't often talk about. So usually whatever you're seeing right now, SolarBalls, I wrote months ago, okay, either 1 or 2 months ago. So so by that, like, when I write a script, we have like 3 team members just check it out, help me like with maybe some grammar or some like ideas or just consistency, because maybe there's something that I forgot or something that we established earlier. Anyways, after a few days, we send it to voice acting, and nowadays the cast is becoming pretty big, so it's also, like, we have to pay close attention to the time, because it might be the case that some voice actor needs more time, or they're out of town, Then we start production, and usually animators will take between 2.5 weeks to like a month. It really depends on the episode, the complexity, and the animator, how long they're gonna take. So we anticipate all of those factors, you know, and once the animator finishes, we need to move it to music composing and sound design. Both of those happen at the same time. Um, so, so yeah, like, so it's like a month and a half, a month in when it's a shorter animation span, or 2 months if it's a very complicated episodes. For example, A Tale of Two Astronauts, which was like very long. I think that took us almost like 2 months, I believe. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. Uh, what are some canon ships? Okay, like for those of you who maybe like probably 90% of you know what a ship is, you know. But yeah, it's crazy that I'm gonna be talking about this. Uh, Ship is, you know, when people want like character A and character B to get together. Um, so what are some canon ships? Proto and Theia is a canon ship. Um, I think Ganymede and Europa are another one, and a lot of the other ships, you know, that I've been seen circulating. You know, I see a lot of people wanting characters like Saturn and Jupiter, or let's say Callisto and Triton, or Titan and Titania, to end up together. But for the most part, like a lot of those are gonna be like more just, you know, background fun things, you know, that are not necessarily gonna be canon, unless eventually in the future I see, hey, there's this beautiful story I could tell with this, if there's a good reason, you know. For Proto and Theia, like, yeah, that was a love story, and I was like, hey, let's actually do this love story, the pillar of this, you know. So yeah. Anyways, let's see. What did you think of the SolarBalls channel when you first started? So, okay, I remember I had a talk with my dad once, early on when we were before I released SolarBalls. I had the idea of the show, you know, and I told him, yeah, I want to do this show about like planets, and it's gonna like follow up Mr. Spherical. I'm more excited about space than geopolitics, you know. So I was like excited about the idea, but my dad was like, hey, but are you sure a show about just like planets talking is gonna, you know, have a lot of potential? Like, that's probably gonna run out of potential concepts after maybe, okay, let's say 50 episodes. Maybe that's gonna run its course, you know. And I was like, let's see. You know, if I want to make it very character driven, so maybe that's gonna maybe make it have more potential. And then we started the show, and I think when I found Jack Stansbury, you know, the voice actor for most of the characters, I kind of like saw the show very clearly. I was like, okay, I think I know the tone that we need to go for, you know, because he was so good, you know, like every character was so unique. There was this like snarky personality to the whole vibe of the show, you know. I also I started to feel like to be more to just make educational content every single week is not really what I wanted to do. And one of the reasons is not that I don't want to be educational. It's actually the complete opposite. And here's the secret formula of SolarBalls, and you can quote me on this when you talk about, because I see a lot of people saying, hey, it used to be more educational. It's like, you guys don't notice what we're actually doing. The plan, or the way we want to do this, is we want to be like an appetizer for like education, okay? And this is something that Oliver and I have spoken a lot about. We don't necessarily want to be like a math book or a science book or whatever, you know. Like, we want people, you know, or our audience, to watch our show and like it and I like this world building, I like these characters enough, so they themselves just go and actually want to get a science book and read it, you know. So, which means we're not always gonna be just making the solar system an educational space. We actually really want to make it a cool place, you know, a place that is fun to be around. And then what ends up happening is, because it's a fun show to watch, you know, like people want to see, hey, what are the arcs are they gonna do, you know? So they start literally opening like the NASA website or looking at other great channels like Kurzgesagt or etc. and learning about space and really trying to see what could happen in the show. Like science and space is the lore of SolarBalls. So if you like, it's same thing if you're like Game of Thrones or one of those shows and you want to know what's behind them, then you're gonna maybe read about the lore of the world or the world building, you know. So in our case, the lore is science, you know. And for me, that's such a cool concept, and I don't know if I've seen that happen done a lot, you know. To the point where sometimes you just see a SolarBalls episode and there's not a single educational thing going on, but it's just like the characters being built up, so that maybe in the next episode or the one after we can explore a scientific concept that has been built up, you know. For example, lately with the rogue planets, I've seen some people that really don't know this what we're doing. It's like, yeah, why are we doing this? And it's like, we're exploring the concept of rogue planets, how many of them are theoretically out there, and then exploring some of them and some of the cool concepts that surround them. When we have a scene with OTS and she's mentioning how she wants to develop life through a protoplanetary disk that surrounds her and how she could be developing planets, yeah, like that's a character thing. But actually you're learning about like this rogue planet out there in space, you know, with a protoplanetary disk that has potential for life, and that's just something that you didn't know before you saw that point. And we built up to the revelation of OTS. Everybody was in the comment section, where's OTS? We saw her in some image, is she gonna appear? So that's for me such a interesting way to teach. Just make the audience very engaged with the world building and have fun with it. And I guess education will come with it, you know. Like, I don't know, when I was in school I didn't really enjoy just being told, hey, you have to learn this because it's important and that's it, you know. Whenever I got really convinced that something was cool and engaging and worth my attention, that's when I really want to learn. And yeah, anyways. Yeah, so let's see some other comments. Okay, how did the planets know their names before the Earth was formed? Did the Earthlings name them? So there's no way to make the past of the solar system and the universe work unless we just break a bit of that foundation, you know. And that's why I actually think I never show any of the planets receiving their names, you know. And that's why I play a bit loose with the rules and makes Astro to be the one that narrates the story of the origins of the universe. Is it accurate to what happened? Probably. You know, like it seems to be the true story in the SolarBalls universe of how things went, you know. But we never see, like, let's say the sun saying, you are gonna be named Jupiter, you know. More or less names just kind of like pop into existence, which could be Astro narrating the story, it could be something else, you know. I just want to leave that part a bit more ambiguous, you know. But can you imagine how annoying it would be to do the origins of the show and have characters never name themselves or name themselves like something else? Like, storytelling wise, I had to make a choice, and that was the one that I came up with. Okay, let's see, what else is there? Will there be more star characters? Like, yeah, absolutely. But I'm holding on to that. I'm a very patient storyteller, you know. Like, I don't want to, like, get, like, you know, I have so many ideas, but I know if I rush to them, first of all, I remove a lot of what makes them special, you know. Like, just think about how long it took for a single one of our characters to get out of the solar system, you know. Even Planet X was like still inside the solar system. Like, it was like, I think, several arcs before we even saw a planet from outside, you know. So stars, black holes, the center of the universe, or the center of the galaxy, and the future of the universe. Those are things that I'd rather like build up as time goes on, rather than just like use them right away, you know. So if you stay around with the show, you're probably gonna see a bunch of amazing things, you know. But we're gonna take our time building them up, you know. Okay, what about all the fictional planets? I guess so. Regarding fictional planets, one of them would be Planet X. You know, that's a fictional planet because we have no evidence if he exists, which is great because I just get to have this character that I can move around the universe as I want. That is not gonna break, you know, the solar system in its familiar form, you know. Now I introduced some other fictional characters. One of them is the planets that survived the collision of Jupiter during the Grand Tack, and they became rock planets. And I just thought that was just like mostly story wise, but also because I think like based on evidence, like some of them were thrown off from the solar system. So I was like, hey, let's introduce some characters and make them have a role in the story. Do they have specific names? No, because there's really no evidence around them. But anyways, I really try to avoid using a lot of like fictional planets or characters. I'm very cautious whenever I introduce something like that, because once you open that box, you have to deal with it. But I think the ones that I have introduced so far, I think, enrich the show. And I've always been very clear, like, to specify that they're like theoretical planet. Even later in the show, they constantly repeat that Planet X is a theoretical planet. So, anyways, okay, let's see. Is it true that the Sun has borderline personality disorder? So I'm never gonna diagnose what any of the characters have. I think that would remove so much of the fun of the characters, and also what makes them unique, or maybe something that some of you would like or connect with. Yeah, that I think that's what I can say. Like it would be so boring if I just say, let's say, like Neptune is exactly this, or that this is exactly why Neptune is like the way he is, or the Sun this is exactly why he is the way he is. I'm not gonna diagnose them. I think, but honestly, the reason why I won't is because I'd rather you guys just figure that out, or find something that clicks with you. That's more beautiful than me establishing something and removing all the creativity or interpretation. Alvaro, do you like Sar as a character? Like, yeah, I love Sar as a character, and it's funny because I barely use Sar in the show, but it's for a reason. I'm building that character up for future events in the show, and honestly, like, I also have so much fun writing planet narratives, But I have a vision for what Sar's role might be in the future, and I hope it's cool and everybody likes it. It's probably gonna surprise some of you. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about Sar. Alvaro, pay me the therapy. I see that comment so much every time we release an episode. I take it as a compliment, honestly, because it comes from a place of love. I think, like, a lot of you like the storytelling that we're doing, and you're so immersed that, that an episode ends. And yeah, anyways, just addressing that. It's a fun thing, and I know it comes from a place of just being funny. Okay, let's see. What inspired you to make SolarBalls? Okay, that's a really cool one. So again, like, this project, the way it is laid out. Okay, I think I'll go back to the beginning. Okay, so we were doing Mr. Spherical with Oliver, and we were discussing, hey, like, let's also do planets, and we were slightly aware, that there was like planet-like content being made. To be totally fair and to be totally honest, I never did much, or I wasn't really very aware of the conventions of a lot of those communities, like the Country Ball one and the Planet Ball one. Mainly because I really wanted to, hey, I'll try to do something a bit in a way that makes sense for Oliver and me. And I know some people like found that a bit, like, let's say, controversial, that we didn't follow the guidelines, or that we put mouth to the characters. For me, I don't know, like, I really feel like in the case of Mr. Spherical, that art, the less constricted it is, the better. You get to play more, you get to be more creative with art. So if you're gonna change some foundation of something, it's probably fine, and if people like it, it's even better. If nobody likes it, you try it, like, and And I think it's as simple as that, you know. But I know I made some people from the Contribute community a bit upset with that. Anyways, Planet Balls I really didn't know much about, like much of that. And I had already done some episodes that introduced some planetary characters in SolarBalls. So with that in mind, Oliver and I, we discussed doing this, and I think Oli and Sean, who was the writer back then for Spherical, actually he's still working on Spherical now, sorry. They started working on some ideas of, okay, how do we do planets, like Spherical but with planets, you know, and they were a bit moving ahead with it, and I told them, guys, okay. Let's pause, let's not just jump into because Spherical started so fast. Spherical was like, the channel was created when I came in, you know, it had like a few subscribers, like I think either 10 or 100, I forgot. But it was already established, so it was kind of like a more quick, okay, let's reinvent it and let's get a move on. But for SolarBalls, I really wanted to, okay, let's pause, give me a few weeks, let's build this up, so it can actually be a proper like IP, you know, in proper intellectual property that's consistent, that has characters that can go elsewhere, you know. And they, like, yeah, Oliver paused, just starting to write scripts and all. And after some time, I came back with a proper pitch, and he really liked it, and we started working on the project, and we became partners on SolarBalls, and the rest is history, you know. Like that's how SolarBalls came to be, and I was very proud of it from day one. It was such a fun thing to work on, you know, and for many years I was animating more than half of the episodes, and some of the first long ones I was also very involved in writing them, until eventually we had, like, it wasn't sustainable for me to be animating so much, you know, so we expanded the team and we taught them how to do this, you know. But I had a blast when I was animating all of them, and I'm so happy that I can just have a team that's so talented. My right hand in this, Federico, he's also like incredibly talented, and he helps me like work with the team, direct them to the point that I can just focus on the things that I do best, you know, which is like establish the vision, write the scripts, etc. So yeah, anyways, that's a bit of some of the origins. Okay, wow, there's so many questions, guys. Like, it's impossible to keep track of this. Will you ever make a SolarBalls board game? You know, I've done 2 board games in my life. I can, and there's one that I teased in one of my older videos, and one that I've done very recently, but neither is for SolarBalls. I once did a SolarBalls board game prototype, but I think I was trying to do something else, and then I put like a SolarBalls stamp on it, and I didn't feel happy with that. I'd rather do like something that's very much SolarBalls. So I scrapped that project, and instead we did Solar Cards, which honestly I'm so proud of. Maybe one day, guys. Maybe one day. Yeah, there's so much going on right now with so many projects and, you know, things going on in SolarBalls, the movie, the show itself. Yes, the show itself getting 7 minutes a week is already a lot. But maybe one day I'll get back to that, if you guys want it. So just let me know in the comments or anywhere if you'd like a SolarBalls board game. And yeah, okay. Will the sun ever become a red giant in the series? Oof. Is that something I should answer? For those of you who know like what we're talking about, that would be the end of like the solar system, the moment the sun becomes a red giant. If that's something that I'm going to explore, I don't want to confirm that, but potentially if that were to happen, it would be close to the end of the story. But I don't know if I'm going to necessarily cover that, or maybe I do. I don't know. We'll see, guys. I will not answer that one. It's more fun if I don't. Why are all the planets in the solar system male except Theia? Okay, I really want to address this because it might seem that we just made like a boy group of planets, and that's not the case. So with Mr. Spherical, we only had one voice actor signed for the whole show, just because it was easier and we didn't have like a lot of money to just double down on that. And when we started SolarBalls, we had the same idea. Hey, let's just get one voice actor to voice the main cast. And when we introduced, for example, Astro Dude's wife, that was gonna be more of a cameo appearance when we just launched the show, and we were not gonna really count on that voice actress to be as involved, because we were gonna assign like a voice actor, you know, like in this case Jack, to be like a one-man show. That was the initial plan. Now, SolarBalls was a lot more successful than we anticipated, so by that time we were like, oh man, it would have been nice if, let's say, we would have made, let's say, Venus, like, let's say, Saturn, some of these characters like female. So like since then, you know, I've been trying to, like, of course, make a lot more, introduce a lot more female characters, you know, into the show, now that we just can't do it, you know, normally. But yeah, the reason why the main planets are all like male is because they're all voiced by the same guy. You know, they're all voiced by Jack, and he was the one voice actor we started this. So there's not much to that, you know. Like, I wish I had a smart answer, you know, but nah, I just had to play around that, you know, and that's why like Venus gets upset when they say he's the goddess of love and beauty. But ideally, probably those characters would have been female in another reality, you know. Anyways, that's the big secret, guys. That's why they're all male. When will I release new plushies? We're working on Mars and Mercury. We'll see when they come out. I know everybody wants them, and that'll fulfill the collection. So I can't update anything now, but yeah. Alvaro, are you planning to make more merch for SolarBalls? I don't. We're not, like, we were about to release Solar Card Second Edition, but we're very careful. Like, we don't want to just get overly excited because Solar Cards did really well and just start throwing stuff in, you know, to see what sticks. Like, if anything, our approach is so careful usually. Like, we care so much about SolarBalls that we don't want to just like take the wrong step and do something that that doesn't work with the community, or something that, I don't know. I always think it has to be something that would excite me, because I am so much like all of you. Probably, well, when I was younger, maybe even more so. But I'm such a, you know, like, I love engaging with like project. Like, for me, like, SolarBalls is the kind of project that I would love to just watch on the internet and be engaged about. Which sucks because I don't get to enjoy the same way you guys do. I know all the spoilers already, but I want to think what would excite me, you know. And Solar Cards, it just seemed like something that just was very fun, you know. It's fun to play, it's simple, you know, it's fun to collect. So same with the plushies, you know, just like to have a tangible thing that represents the characters. For me, it's exciting. So unless we really come up with great ideas, yeah, like we don't want to just like sell you guys whatever. Like, we really want to be careful with what we introduce to you guys, and for it to be something that excites us the same as it would excite you. Okay, let's see. Okay. My God, there's so many comments. I'm getting lost. Have you read any comics that any fan has made? Sadly, I haven't. I've seen most of the fan art that I see on Discord, and guys, you're so talented on the Discord. Like, it's like every now and then people make fun. Oh, Alvaro is like roaming around Discord, and every now and then I am. Like, I just have such a blast checking out what you guys are doing. You know, all sorts of fan art that you guys post. Comics, no, and I try to avoid anything related to fan-made content, because I don't even want to get inspiration from any of you by accident and take any of your ideas, you know. For me, it's more fun if I'm doing my thing, you know, and you guys, you know, like, SolarBalls has such a solid fan community, you know, of people just making animations and comics and things, and I'm so happy that that's going on. that I'd rather, like, guys, if you have ideas of things or like alternate realities and you think some of the things that I've done you could do better on a different angle, like, more power to you. Please, like, just do fan-made content. Sadly, I'll probably try to avoid it, not to by accident get inspiration or take anybody's idea. So yeah, I'm just cautiously moving around and not really. Yeah. The good thing is that I've planned most of the show, so I it's very difficult for me to see something and then be like, oh, I'm gonna take ideas from that, But anyways, okay. When we will see the dark side of the moon again, you will see the dark side of the moon again. And actually, the dark side of the moon was the first spoiler of what happens to a character that is, staring more towards like empty space, for example. Now I know that the dark side of the moon is actually technically also it's orbiting around the Earth, and it's tidally locked to the Earth. But still, in the logic of the show, it was one of the first teases, and that's why his eyes are not totally dark. I wanted the character to be like the first tease of the concept of like the rogue planets, like what happens to entities or like planets or whatever that are more like swimming in the darkness, I guess, and the one thing is the eyes go darker, But yeah, it's just a fun little thing that I'm confirming here. Who is my least favorite character? I think that would be PSO, but it's on purpose. I just made that character to be a bit annoying and a bit, less redeemable than, let's say, like a Ganymede, Now, that's what I'm saying right now. Like, maybe PSO will later on surprise me. Like, I can control my character only until a certain point before they surprise me, and maybe they are more nuanced than I thought. But so far, they're probably PSO, and it's on purpose. He's especially in the latest episodes that I wrote. Like, he's gonna say some things that you're gonna be like, yeah, you're just like mean. Will we see Mr. Rotzar? Yeah, guys. So for those of you who don't know, Mr. Rotzar is the person behind the company that is financing Astrodude's mission and the one behind all of that, and has been a big question mark in the show for years now. You will see Mr. Rotzar, and maybe you have already seen Mr. Rotzar, but I can't confirm who that is, but we'll see. Let's see what else. Okay, the hour's about to finish, so let's see what could be some more comments that we could cover. What happened once we return to the Awakened series? Oh, we're gonna return to that series for sure. That ending wasn't just like, okay, anyway, see you never. No, like, that ending will have a payoff that I'm building up, and I can't wait to get to that point, because it's gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's like many other things, like, it takes some time, and eventually one day you're like, oh wow, that paid off, Same way Ganymede saying a year ago or a year and a half ago, there will be a planet revolution, and now we're here, So just stick to the show. There's gonna be a lot of cool stuff happening later on. Okay. Let's see what else. Are stars actually evil, or are rogue planets confused, delusional, or brainwashed about them? That's a wonderful question, and I doubt any. Like, here's the thing: I'm not a moral relativist at all, guys. Like, I think morality is important, morality is good. We all have to have a code that leads us to be better, and that's why I said my favorite character might be the moon. The moon is loyal and will always try, like, even when things get complicated, the moon will be probably in the right, or will try to be in the right, and just make things better for everybody. So when we have antagonists on the arcs, they might have reasons, but they can still be wrong, and Planet X would be a perfect example. Like, Planet X, I love that character because he had a lot of reasons to just be very resentful and angry and really push his narrative, but then he takes things too far, and he realizes that he broke a lot of foundations and burned a lot of bridges, and yeah, and that revenge is just like him being more of a loser than anything else. So when it comes to rogue planets and stars and that conflict, that's so much fun because a lot of like rogue planets are actually brown dwarfs, which are like failed stars. For me, that was the foundation of that's what we're gonna do with this arc. You know, it's gonna be brown dwarfs being the heads of the rogue planet army, and having their own reasons to mistrust stars. But think about it, every single or like most of the rogue planets, if not all of the rogue planets, once came from stars because like they came from protoplanetary disks. So all of them were abandoned by stars. Of course they don't like stars. They're just traitors. They're like evil, and even when they're not, they're either gonna explode or like grow and consume you, or like it's gonna be a sad ending, and they're not wrong about that, Now the question is, does that make stars evil? It's almost like if you complain to your parents that one day they're gonna be gone from the world, and does that make them evil, or is that just like part of life, part of nature, part of like things being finite? Now the main difference is that for the most part, like when stars go, like it's almost like they take everybody with them, So we'll see what that means for the show. But sometimes the world is the way it is, sometimes like the nature of things is not like there's the nature of things, and then there's like the intention, so I think you can't really blame the rogue planets for thinking the way they think. But also when you look at stars, and especially at the sun and the sun in the show, you can really notice that, hey, this character is not just a simple villain or a simple hero or a simple protagonist. This character has a lot of layers that are very nuanced and beautiful, and that's what I strive to create. We're gonna have villains, we're gonna have antagonists, but I don't think I'll try to push, like the evil stars versus the heroic rogue planets, or vice versa. It's gonna be a dance between those concepts. Okay, will we get a dinosaur arc? I'm not gonna answer that, but like I think logic would say logic is gonna answer that question. I think that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, and yeah, I think we have time for like one or two more questions. At what point of the series will the movie happen? It will happen after whatever's going on in the present. So it's gonna be like, it's not gonna be super necessarily connected. It's not gonna be like, because this happens in the show, the movie happens. It's gonna be more like there's gonna be a certain status quo potentially in the show, and then the movie's gonna happen. So we'll have to see, and we'll have to see what status quo that is, Okay, how many episodes left are there of the Rogue Planets arc? If I remember correctly, there's 9 more episodes. Yeah. So it's gonna be Mission to the Sun episodes, then another trilogy, and then a final trilogy. Now, whenever I say that, I end up changing my mind eventually, and then I just do like maybe a 4-episode finale. I'll have to see, when I get to that. But for now, it's gonna be 9 more episodes, and the arc will finish. Okay, it's 11. Just a few final comments. Okay, so was Mercury apologizing to Earth for the stunt comment just fan service? Okay, so I'll address that, because I know like a lot of you were angry that Mercury said that comment. And we're referring to Mercury commenting that the time that the Earth was heading to the sun was just a stunt. That was Mercury's worst moment, but it was on purpose. So here's how I see Mercury, myself as the creator of the show, I dealt with bullying when I was in school, and it was one of the most depressing things out there. And I always try to be a good person. I always try to support others. But there's a point where, you know, like let's say dealing with bullying can start to take a toll on you, and maybe you start to become a worse version of yourself, you know. And if you don't keep check on that, then the bullied can become the bully, you know. And that's what I want to portray with Mercury, and that's also something that I planned from the very beginning, you know. That Venus versus Mercury whole shenanigan that happened, that was building up like Mercury just being fed up, you know, being fed up of being the smallest planet, being called Pipsqueak, having to deal with the sun. Mercury is just trying to be the best he can, you know, support the Earth, support everybody else. Everybody else is the center of attention, and he's just silently dealing with all of this bullying and stress and pressure, you know. And that was one of, sadly, Mercury's moments where he made a comment that you know, was very insensitive, because Mercury is good. He's not a bad guy, like, at all. And then after he just has that confrontation with Mercury and is able to kind of like move past that, like for some time I thought, like, is Mercury ever gonna apologize for that? And I didn't know I was gonna write the apology scene, or the scene where all the planets just like kind of like fix their issues, you know, back then. But as I got closer to that point of the planet revolution, I'm like, I think that this needs to happen, because they need to be as united as they've ever been. And I think this is the moment where Mercury should address that, because Mercury was at a low point. And that's something that I really want you guys to understand, because I don't want you to ever see a character, let's say, being the worst version of themselves and think we're betraying the characters. Like, just really try to think, why would they break character, or why would they say something that feels so off, you know? Like, the moon loves the Earth, for example, but the moon also is dealing with his own issues or problems, and sometimes feels like those issues are not being paid attention to. Mercury, like, is trying to be the best planet he can be, you know, and just like a good like, he has a good moral compass, you know, but also is dealing with so much every single day that, yeah, like, he had enough, and he got tired of others having the spotlight and said some sensitive things. We've all done that, and we can't just expect these characters to be like static paradigm, like pillars of goodness, you know, all the time, because I think I would be not being fair to them also, you know, for them to be flawed, for them to sometimes just break. And maybe later they can regret some of the choices and be better by that. That's something that I love. Like, whenever I write a character making a mistake and then they kind of like try to fix it or just like heal, you know, I often just feel like the character becomes better and becomes more rich, and relationships become improved. Like, you can't deny all the solar system is more united than ever, because they had to go through a lot of things, you know. Okay, and final comment. Let's see. Why did I start making OSTs, so original soundtracks? I love making music. I just love making music so much, and I couldn't help myself. I literally couldn't. Back in the day, I did a show called The Liosax, and I didn't, you know, like, I was so worried about putting music that would get me in trouble, you know. Early YouTube, you know, you don't know the rules of the game, you know. So I'm like, oh, what if I put like Guns N' Roses or whatever? I'm gonna get in trouble, and so I'll just make it myself. So I play with my piano. I always have played the piano. I play the keyboard. I play some guitar, not as well. I'm a bit new on that. And I love composing, you know, and music goes so hand in hand for me with the creative process, that sometimes even composing the song helps me know what's going to happen, you know. I think when I composed the Planet X theme song, that's when I knew, okay, this is how this whole thing's gonna end. And with the Rogue Planets, I know what that song is gonna mean when the ending comes. I know, like, some of those, like, pam 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 pam, like, I know what's gonna be happening when that sound comes, you know. It informs, you know, like, creative process is almost like having a really good, like, nose, you know, just like you know, when dogs, you know, they don't really see what's in front of them, but they just like follow the scent, you know. I guess that's it, and sometimes that just means that instead of going straight to writing, you just go and play with the keyboard, and then you're gonna figure out while you're playing what actually is gonna happen. Should I finish? Should I finish this, guys? Okay, maybe I'll see one more question, and if there's a really good one. Uh, mm, it's moving so fast, I can barely see any of this. What is your proudest achievement working on SolarBalls? I think that's a good one to finalize. Before doing things like SolarBalls or doing things like Mr. Spherical, I was doing projects, you could say, you can say for survival, like I was finishing university, I was trying to do YouTube, I wasn't doing that much money doing those things. So Spherical, for example, was the first time that we could do something that, wasn't necessarily losing money. But like when I see SolarBalls and I see that we have made something that not only like allows me to have a living, but there's so many people around that like have a job around SolarBalls. That's not what you expect when you think of doing a YouTube show. And that's something that sometimes you just also, everybody watching this have to think about. Like SolarBalls gives jobs to people, gives jobs to animators. In this, for example, AI uncertainty world, like we work with animators and artists, and they get to do what they love, and we pay them for doing that, and then they get to go back home and, but not go back home because everybody works remotely, but they get to properly, earn doing art. And that was like, for me, when I was younger, the dream. Like my dream when I was younger was to be working for a project like the one that I'm doing now, and I get not only to work on that, but be at the helm next to Oliver on this adventure. That's the thing I'm the proudest of, I'm so proud of like having been part of the creation of this entire universe that gets people, the chance to be creative, the chance to be to explore, the chance to also give a bit of themselves, when they animate, when they make the music, when they do the sound design, when they do the edits, I think we always work happy, or at least that's my impression, but whenever I have calls with my team, we're always like happy and getting giddy of the next few episodes or what's gonna happen next. Of course, we sometimes face burnout. That happens a lot, because it's intense. Like it's an episode a week. We're always moving. We never stop. But it's always fun. I think we can be proud of this. We're not like content farming SolarBalls. We're really doing a project that we're proud of, that we believe in. I think the other thing that I'm the proudest of, it's a bit more dark, guys, so just content warning. I think after I did the Earth is heading to the sun episode, I got a lot of like, and I tried to be so responsible with that episode because I know that the subject matter that I'm dancing around is very dark, so I even was like, am I really doing this right now? Am I gonna do this episode? But I got so many comments of people telling me, hey, like that episode, and just seeing the Earth go from that character, to somebody better through effort, saved my life, And it was not one, it was not 10, it was like hundreds of comments like that, which just made me like, this space show saved lives, and that made me feel responsible not only for that episode, but also everything I do moving forward, I'm so proud of that, guys, and I just wish everybody in the community to do well, to like if the show gives you solace, you know, or these kind of stories give you just a reason to move on to the next day, you know, even if things are looking dark, like, then hold on to that. But the power is inside of you guys. I myself have never gone through specifically that, but I've gone through dark times. I think the pandemic was one of my darkest times because I was stuck in another country, got totally alone, and all my friends had left the country, and I was just months and months and months alone, you know, and that was very dark, you know. But it's just about, like, you know, finding something, you know, that gives you purpose, you know, finding something that, like, you have to find, you have to search for it, you know, because it's there, and it's gonna be there, you know. Same thing with bullying in school, you know, like, that was horrible, and I didn't have the tool sets or even the communicational skills to know how to, like, get a good comeback to deal with it. No, I was just, like, in trouble, and it was, you know, bullying makes you get more inside your shell sometimes, you know. So it was more about being patient and having something else to look forward to, you know, going back home and working on the Lego sacks or whatever I was doing back then, and that just kept me going, kept me motivated, you know. And I'm so happy I just, like, pushed through whatever dark moments I've had in my life. Yeah. Those are the two things I'm the proudest of, like, having a project that can have that can make people earn money for a living, you know. Even if it sounds simple, it's so it makes me happy and proud. Yeah, and the fact that, like, somehow this show saved some lives, you know. That would be my, probably, I don't know what would ever pick that for me, guys. Like, I really don't know what would pick that. But you know, I'll just keep trying to do better. Anyways, guys. Okay, yeah, that was an emotional ending for this stream, guys. But thank you so much for the questions. You're all amazing. I'm so proud of this community. I'm so proud of just having people that are excited to learn, are excited about space, and I hope you keep watching, and I hope you keep enjoying it. And I'll do my best to do the best possible story and projects that you'll all get to enjoy with me. I hope you're also excited for Ramon's. Always the wrong thing. I hope you're also excited for Ramonster Run. This is not like I'm not here to, like, promote that, you know, but it's been years of my life dedicated to this project, and I'm sure you're gonna be very surprised by the story we've built. Just stay around, just stick around, subscribe maybe to this channel, because I will be developing more what actually Ramonster Run is gonna be. But yeah, I guess that's that, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for just being here, and I'll see you on the next one, everybody. See you.